Hello, beautiful humans. This is Jaylene and Jules from the Empowering Women Project, and you're listening to the EWP podcast.
This podcast is for the women who know deep in their soul they are here for more. If you are done with the BS stories and limiting beliefs that are holding you back from your dreams becoming a reality,
come jump in the driver's seat and pave the way back home to her. This is a space for you to feel seen, heard, supported, and accepted for who you are, who you were, and who you're becoming.
Celebrating you wherever you are in your journey. Sit back, grab a tea or a wine, and come empower yourself with us. Jules and Day, let's grow.
This podcast episode comes with a content warning. We'll be discussing sensitive topics. Please do a personal body check-in to see if you're up to listening today.
We encourage you to reach out to available supports. In Australia, there are many options to support life events, including but not limited to Lifeline, 13 11 14. SMS is available 24/7 where you can now text if you don't feel safe or comfortable calling. 0477 131 114. We will include these in our show notes. Please check our pinned highlights on socials if you need direct DV supports for your area. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to the EWP.
Hello, beautiful humans. Happy Monday.
Today, we are talking about all things part 2, everything that we didn't get to talk about in part 1. I mean, not everything, but all of the things we had planned to talk about and we didn't get a chance to.
Literally, we could talk underwater for days, I reckon, couldn't we, babe?
Absolutely. And we feel like we've just kind of really found the flow and we're learning all the behind the scenes. So yeah, really feeling proud of ourselves.
Yay. And we just want to say thank you for all the love and support so far. Like yesterday over on Facebook, we were like, holy Jesus, with all the love and the messages we were receiving. So we, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you so much because we really do behind the scenes pour so much love into this, and there's so much planning and researching and everything. And we just love doing it. Like, it's like our life right now. So thank you so much.
And we literally share every single message, every like, every comment, everything that you guys send to us, we share with each other and we have a little mini celebration moment.
Yeah, we literally like, it's so good.
Absolutely. So where do we begin today? I think one of the things we wanted to touch on was our love languages.
Yeah, I mean, I will go first. My top 2 love languages. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with love languages, but we can like put a link in the show notes so you guys can discover what your love languages are. Mine is physical touch and quality time. So I obviously love being hugged and cuddled and just having quality time with somebody, look in their eyes, you know, going for beach walks, all that sort of stuff. They're my top 2. So yeah, but all of them, I love all of them anyway. So yeah.
Love. And so yeah, a brief sort of overview of what the love languages are. There are 5 of them. And the way that it is sort of researched is that we often give what we want to receive in a relationship or in a partnership or in a friendship. And it's so funny because realistically, that's actually what we want to have back. So if we were to let our partners know these are our love languages and they were to fulfill those, you would be exponentially surprised how fulfilled you feel within that relationship just by having those love languages attended to. And for me, I believe a little bit of all of them. Like, I think, you know, a little bit of all I love, but my top 2 are definitely words of affirmation and physical touch as well. Love the same, to be cuddled, love to be holding hands if you're on a walk, love to, yeah, just, you know, have clear communication. And I want to know what my partner's thinking and feeling when I have one, what they're thinking and feeling about me. Like, I don't want to be sitting here wondering what's on their mind. You know, I want them to tell me. And yeah, if they tell me, I just feel like, you know,
Yeah, amen. And public displays of affection. I love that. Are you the same, babe? Like literally hold my hand, cuddle me, piggyback me through the shops like that cray cray girlfriend. Like all for it. And some people actually hate PDA. I freaking love it. I love it.
And that reminded me of the
So
time you jumped on my back during the photo shoot and nearly broke it.
our photo shoot actually looks like we're a couple. It just
Yeah.
shows
Well,
our
those photos, yeah. Those
it
photos will
just
not
shows
be
that
making it.
it literally
You
just
go, babe.
shows,
You go.
sorry, it just shows our like love language through that as friends as well. Like quality time and physical touch goes through a friendship too for me. Like I am that weirdo that will sit with you on the couch and just hug you and be like, oh my god, and so yeah, it's so good. I love understanding all these sort of things.
Yeah, same, babe, same. And it really, you learn about it that I think where I really first dove into it was during healing, like speaking to my psychologist. And that's what you do. You understand what makes you feel fulfilled at the end of the
Mm.
day. And I think it's so important.
Yeah, amen. Once you understand what love languages you have, you're able to voice that to your partner as well. So having that self-awareness with yourself is in turn going to make your relationship grow. How are we getting, well, obviously love languages goes in turn with that. But yeah, I was about to say, how are we getting onto relationships so quickly?
Yeah, no. And also, if you have children, understanding your children's love languages, like Hudson's is 100% physical touch. Like he just loves a cuddle. He's always got to be touching me, always got to be close to me. And like, bless his little soul. I love that for him. But yeah, his is absolutely without a doubt physical touch, 100%.
Amen. All of us would be acts of service. He loves someone like waiting on him. Heath would be quality time, and Kobe is definitely physical touch. There's always like a leg touching you, like always. Something's always touching you.
Yeah, bless our boys. Love them so much. So we hope that if you don't know about love languages, that you will enjoy getting to know yours. There's a little quiz on the link that we'll put up, and it just asks you, I think maybe 20 questions or something. And then, yeah, you get to read all about it and how you can implement it into your relationships, friendships, your parenting. So yeah, we hope you enjoy.
Amen. And do it with your partner and your kids as well. So yeah, understand them more if they're age
Mm,
appropriate, obviously with kiddies.
absolutely. And then another big one for us was learning our attachment styles, which then leads into our childhoods. And so yeah, let's dive into that. And just I know we'll put a trigger warning at the beginning, but we may be talking about sensitive things today. So if you do a little mini check-in with your body and make sure that you are able to continue listening.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your attachment style, babe? Tell me about it.
Well, this came up in a conversation with Julia actually, when I was in my previous relationship, and she noticed just through my language that I have anxious attachment. And I think it was just that relationship also, like it just, yeah, there was just certain aspects of that relationship where I wasn't seen or heard or, valued. And I think that made me quite anxious. So I'm definitely wanting to go to a secure attachment. And I think with a healthy, beautiful relationship where you're able to voice, and have your voice heard and be seen in the relationship, you can go from an anxious attachment to a secure one. So that is my goal for my next relationship because I know it's going to be amazing. Manifesting, hubby, if you're listening, not ready yet, but you can come whenever.
That's amazing. It's amazing that, you were able to take that information when I started explaining about attachment styles and you were able to I think you went off and did some research and stuff. And I think I actually recommended you a book for once and it was called Anxious Attachments. We'll put a link in the show notes for that book as well. But yeah, I really truly discovered what mine was when I started speaking to Sonia, my psychologist. And I really dove in depth and discovered that it actually links to your childhood. And however you grew up within your childhood and whether you felt safe, whether you felt loved, whether you felt seen, heard, secure. And I think with our generation, there was a very different movement and style of parenting. And
Mm.
I feel like that has really impacted a lot of us in this
Yeah.
generation when we're going into friendships, relationships, when we're parents. So one of the big reasons I started my healing journey was because I found out I was pregnant with Hudson, and I had been putting it on the back burner, putting it on the back burner. But then I was like, whoa, I really want to hone in on this because I want to, give Hudson the best that I can. And then through that, in my conversations initially with my psychologist, it was discovered that I had an insecure attachment, and it was generally an anxious, insecure attachment. And yeah, we had to unpack why that was and discuss a lot of things from my childhood and what happened and how unsafe it was at times for me. But I can honestly say now, I have developed a secure attachment with my psychologist after 3.5 years with Sonia, which then in turns lets my inner child know that I can actually have a secure attachment with somebody and what that feels like and what the reciprocation of that is like. And it feels
Yeah.
so healthy and normal. And I feel like now I'm able to bring that, especially this year, into my friendships and
Yeah.
establish some clear boundaries and my future relationship as well. And I've actually noticed that when I've had this internal switch within myself, that when I am open to meeting men, that I am attracting better men than I used to in the past. And what I mean by that is men that are more healed or they have a more secure attachment. And in the past, I was not healed and I was vulnerable and I was attracting the wrong men.
Amen. I think, yeah, when you have so many insecurities and stuff like that as a child, obviously, I don't know, the relationships that you attract into your life are just not great ones. Like, obviously, we've both been through DV. And I feel like when I look back at that self, I was very insecure. I didn't have a voice, I didn't know who I was. I had low self-worth. And I feel like when you start healing and understanding where all this is coming from, like generally it's from early childhood, then when you start healing that, you attract better friends and you attract better, relationships. So definitely I can totally resonate with that.
And it can change as well. You can grow up with a beautiful, secure attachment, and then you end up with the wrong person who ends up, you know, um, having traits and exhibiting traits of domestic violence. And then you end up then going into an insecure attachment because then you worry that the next partner that comes into your life is going to be the same as the last
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah, 100%. And what you focus on expands as well. So if you haven't healed from your past relationship, you're going to just keep repeating that cycle until, you heal that part of you. So our recommendation, definitely, if you've been through a relationship breakup, even if it wasn't toxic, to seek some help just to get some closure and just to understand certain parts of your relationship and, what you don't want to bring forward in the next one.
And find some friends that you can talk about it with, or find a therapist or a psychologist or somebody that you can, just really truly be yourself and say everything that you're thinking and feeling. Because if you're doing that all on your own, like it can be quite lonely.
Amen. Amen. Definitely.
Mm. So yeah, that's a little bit on attachment styles, but we can also put a link in the show notes. There's going to be lots of links in these show notes to further support you begin to kind of understand. And yeah, highly recommend just getting some support around that in order to move forward, and how pivotally important it is to get some support post a breakup and spend some time on yourself, because too often we just jump from relationship to relationship to relationship and we're trying to fill a void, sometimes from childhood, sometimes from past traumas, and we don't realize what we're actually doing. And when you begin to heal yourself, you actually begin to find that love within yourself and you realize you actually don't need somebody. Like now I'm so comfortable being single and being a single mom, and I'm like, it's just such a beautiful place to be in, to not be seeking that in men.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely got to take some time in between relationships and just figure out who you are again, because I feel like you can lose yourself in relationships. Like I seem to lose like my goals and my drive and all of that sort of stuff in relationships. And that's what I'm wanting to heal and wanting to establish before my next relationship is exactly that. Like I still want to be pursuing all my dreams and I don't want to lose my identity and all of that sort of stuff. But obviously all that comes down to self-worth as well. So open and vulnerable on here. But we're all a work in progress. And I don't know, I just think we've got to give ourselves so much grace because, yeah, we have both healed and grown so much. Like, I never thought I would be sitting here on a potty. One of my biggest fears was like public speaking and people actually seeing and hearing my story. But here we are. So,
The word of the month,
yeah.
which we can tell you now because it's going to be moving into February when this is released next Monday, is bold.
Yes, and we've already been so bold. And every time we take like a really like, well, it's not even audacious, but like something that we haven't done before, we're just like bold, like capital letters, like bold movement. And hopefully we can inspire you guys to be bold this month and for the rest of the year. Like take action on your dreams. If you're needing to go see a therapist, seek the help, put yourself on a waiting list, find someone that works for you. Just do something bold as fuck in February. And we would love to know if you've taken a bold movement in your life. Just drop into our DMs, comment it on one of our posts. Like, we would love to hear it.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely share with us and just put yourself outside of your comfort zone. Like we challenge you just to do, even if it's just one thing that you would never usually do, be bold, be brave,
Mm.
and go for it.
Mm. There's nothing to lose, really. I always say, like, if you don't ask, the answer's always going to be no. So just ask. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah. And then try saying, how good can it get every day for a week and watch what happens.
Amen. Amen.
Hmm. So yeah, I think that'll lead into kind of a little brief synopsis of our childhood. Are you ready?
Yeah, you can go first, my honey.
All right. So yeah, in my childhood, which as you know from the last episode, I grew up in Canada. Um, my mom ended up marrying a man and he became my stepfather and he was actually really unsafe within that period of my life. And that was probably for about 8 years that he was a big part of my life. And I was really little. And yeah, like just the things that he would do were just not okay. And yeah, it's taken a lot for me to work through those things and to heal from them and to be able to talk about it today. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy. It really is. And then my mom and him ended up having a baby. And so that's my baby brother, well, not baby brother anymore, but that's who I am really super close with. And so, yeah, it was really hard for me to navigate that relationship. And because once they did get a divorce, once my mom found out some of the horrendous things that he was doing, but yeah, even things like we used to have to sit at the table until we were finished eating, and we wouldn't be able to leave that table until we finished eating. And we could be sitting there for hours. And I'm talking like he would make mashed potatoes with raw onion cut up in it. And it was just so yuck. And as a kid, your like, was it your platelet isn't fully developed yet. So things
Yeah.
like that, and making like liver and onions, like things, not like we do these days for our kids, where we actually, take into consideration their likes and dislikes and slowly introduce things and all the rest of it. Like it was just, you eat this and you don't leave the table until you do. So yeah, that's just one example. But yeah, it was full on, really full on. And for a long time, I avoided what I had been through. I tried to see a counselor or a psychologist here and there, and I just never really was able to connect with them. And I didn't realize that that was pivotal in order to move forward with the relationship. So highly recommend when you do find someone that you ensure that you resonate with them and that you guys have a good relationship and you feel like you can trust that person, because otherwise, take it from my experience, you'll just end up then withdrawing yourself from it. And there are psychologists out there that are going to be the right fit for you. And you don't have to just stay with somebody you're not happy with. You can move forward with somebody that you connect with, even if you have to see. And I know it's hard to get into one, so just be patient. But it is worth it when you do find the one that you click with. Absolutely. Hmm. That's in a nutshell.
um,
Your
my
turn.
turn. My childhood was a beautiful, chaotic little mess, just to say so myself. And I grew up in my mum and dad were together until I was 10, and then they got back together, and then they broke up when I was 12. But my dad was physically violent, emotionally, all of the rest of it to myself, my brothers, and my mum. And I guess as you start healing, you start seeing like your parents were only able to do the best that they could at the time, with the tools that they had. And if they weren't willing to heal, then that's pretty much the repercussions that are like your loved ones. They just like get the back end of all of that. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I said he was an alcoholic, and we just pretty much lived in fear most of our life. We were just so fearful of my dad, and my poor mum, I just send her so much love. She had to navigate that. And obviously back then, kind of marriages, like you stayed together. Like there was not many of my friends that like had separated parents or anything like that. So I remember the first time my mum and dad broke up and me and my brother were walking to school, and I was like, oh my God, we're one of the weird kids. Like our parents are broken up, and like we're gonna be like teased and all the rest of it. But yeah, we just pretty much lived in fear most of our life. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. And actually, when I was 7 years old, I had my auntie pass away also, when I was home by myself. So that sent me into being very severely depressed and suicidal at the age of 7. I can't even comprehend. Like, I actually feel like I'm going to cry. I
Mm.
still can't comprehend what she went through. Like I know what she went through, but there was a good fair period of that year of school that I missed because I just couldn't, I didn't want to be in the normal world, I guess, because I had to navigate that. So yeah, I've been through quite a lot, and yeah, just yeah, it's a crazy journey that I've been on.
I was just going to say that was really brave of you. I think I was beating around the bush when I talked, and I was like, oh, like how much do I say? How little do I say? So I just want to say how proud I am of you because
I
I
just
know that would have been uncomfortable, and I see you, and I just love you so much, and I love little Daleen. So I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just had
No,
to say that.
don't be sorry. I think I just want to get to a point where we're able to be so open and vulnerable so other women know that like we show up so amazing and we're just like, ah, like life is peachy, but we've fucking had to heal a lot. Like I was like, and we're not going into all the negatives. Like I did have a beautiful childhood as well in some aspects. Like we went on holidays all the time. We were like, dad would like let us do all these cool things. And like we weren't deprived in that aspect. Like we had a really shit like my dad was the cricket coach, the footy coach. My mum was the canteen lady. They ran their own businesses. Like from the outside, but I think people knew that like what was going on at home. But from the outside, it was like, oh fuck, like we got like I got to try any sport I wanted. Like we were not deprived in any way, shape, or form in that aspect. But then when we came home, it was just like, whoa, like hell's gonna break loose. Like I started even
Mm.
like counting how many drinks my dad would have in order to see like, oh fuck, do I need to stay away? Do I need to like, just be quiet and all that sort of stuff. And then so mum and dad broke up officially when I was 12. My mum went into like party mode, similar to what I did when I broke up with baby daddy. And kind of she just wasn't mum for a while. And I can totally relate with that. Like you're just trying to figure out who you are again and stuff. And then at the age of 14, I was kicked out of home and I had to quit, go into school. And my goal in life was always to go to university. I always wanted to be a journalist. So, and I never got that opportunity because I had to just go into working. And then I fell pregnant when I was 16, had a baby at 16. And then, by 17, I was a single mom, and then met a really narcissistic man that I got into a relationship with now, which we're healing our co-parenting, which I'm so grateful for. But that was like 7 years of the darkest hell I've ever been through. Like it was like reliving my childhood over. And then there was one day where I was like, I've had a fucking enough. And I did. And I broke up with him. And then I spiraled into partying and all the rest of it. And then I got to a point where I'm like, I'm done with my own bullshit. And I pretty much just, began my healing journey, like just dipping in and out of personal development and different modalities and stuff like that. But
Mm.
yeah, it's been chaotic, but yeah, that's why we wanted to start this podcast. So we are able to inspire you guys. We haven't had a perfect life, and I don't think anybody ever has, but I think healing and growing is like the antidote to freedom. Like honestly,
Mm.
like I've never felt so safe and so like I never knew that what safe felt like until 30. So that's why we're here sharing our stories with you guys. Oh my God, that feels like a huge release off my chest. But yeah, it's
I
just
know, and
nice for
I'm
you guys.
sitting here like,
It's nice for you guys to know this side of us. And that's why we wanted to do this. So you guys could just get to know us a little bit more on a deeper level. But we're here and yeah, it's crazy. But yeah,
mm,
that's my childhood. That's my childhood in a nutshell. Very grateful for so many aspects of it. And it's grown me into the person I am today. But yeah,
mm.
let's go back to you so we can dig a little bit deeper into if you're ready, if you feel called to.
Yeah, I am ready. And I was, as you were talking, I was like listening and I was also making a mental note of, because I feel like yeah, I definitely was beating around the bush, that's for sure. But it takes vulnerability, absolutely, to come on here and share with who knows how many women. But at the end of the day, that's our mission, is to help and for you guys to understand, what we've been through as well, and
Mm,
hope that you can resonate with something. And, hopefully it's not something bad that you can resonate with, but just our journeys as well.
yeah.
So I think a huge shout out to both of our moms for navigating
Yeah.
so much when we were kids, because it wasn't their fault. And
Yeah.
I hope that they know that. And one of the big things that comes through for me in my psych sessions is, you know, um, just really like resonating with my mom and understanding, she did the best that she could with the tools that she had. And, what we're doing now is breaking generational trauma. And it's crazy because I had never really, I'd kind of heard of it loosely, but then really understanding what breaking generational trauma means. And that means to be able to say, no, it's enough. It stops with me. It stops here. And I'm not carrying all the generations of trauma before me into my relationship with my son. And, I have worked really, really hard on that. I've worked really hard to become the best version of me so I could be the best version of myself for Hudson, because he truly deserves it. And every child does. And I think every child matters. And it's just so sad to think about all of the things that our generations and the ones before us went through. So yeah, things did get exponentially bad with my stepfather. He was physically abusive, he was emotionally abusive, he was sexually abusive, and yeah, it was really traumatic. It was a lot to go through as a little child when the person that you're supposed to find trust in and find safety in is taking that away from you. And my dad was never really involved in my life as well. My mom had me at a young age. She was 17. And so my dad wasn't really there. Before my grandmother, his mother, passed away, she would ensure that he got to see me here and there over the years. But once she passed away, that was it. Like, I've tried to reach out to him through my healing process and through all of these years and say, hey, like, it's me, I'm here. And it's got to the point now where he's just blocked my number. So which I discovered and assumed from the last time I called him. So that's
Mm,
really sad. It's sad because I know he's got two sons and they live in Canada and he actually lives in Arizona. In America, but I know that they have a great relationship with him and I know he provides a lot for them. And yeah, it's almost like he just didn't want me. And that's extremely hard to navigate when your father doesn't want you as a child. And then, when your mom marries someone and they are completely unsafe for you and they are, you're scared to go home every day. You're scared of every night. You're scared of so many things instead of actually living a childhood. I was constantly in fight or flight, constantly afraid, constantly just super worried about what was going to come forward, what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tonight. And I now, like, it's really hard. A lot of my childhood I've still blocked out, and like some of it I've opened up during therapy, but a lot of
mm,
it I just can't remember because
mm,
it was so absolutely traumatic, that my body, our bodies go into protection mode and they protect us, and our mind is like literally miraculous, so it will block out certain memories in order to not have us just totally lose control of our mind and our body. And I think my body has done an incredible job of navigating and supporting me through everything that I've been through. And one of the big things I focused on in therapy was being able to feel safe and, working through all of those things with my mind. And then I think it was, gosh, maybe a year ago now, where I was like, oh, actually, my body hasn't caught up. And I would have constant pain, like pelvic pain and pains in my body and chronic migraines. And, I was having this chronic pain because I hadn't actually let my body release what it had been through. So I'd done so much work on my mind and my body just hadn't caught up. So now a huge focus of healing in this present moment, in this present day, is actually, reminding my body that it's safe, reminding my body that I love it, reminding my body, how grateful I am for everything that it's been through. So yeah, it's just insane. And yeah, from there went on to accept men into my life that were not very nice to me because I was vulnerable. I was going out, I was partying, I was trying to cover up all of the pain and all of the trauma that I'd been through, and I wasn't going about it in the right way. And then it really, as I said, like as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was like, nah, no more. And, the universe delivered Sonia to me. Like yeah, I thank her so much because she came into my life at the perfect divine timing. And as I said, I've been seeing her now for 3.5 years, weekly, generally, unless it's school holidays. So I'm so grateful for everything that she's done and all the discoveries I've had. Like, I did my BA in psychology, and I can make the links between what I actually learned in university that I was learning, but wasn't connecting it to myself. And now I can make all those connections and then also apply them to my life. So it's just been a wild journey. And through some of those relationships, there was domestic violence involved as well. And yeah, it was just, it's crazy when you literally sit down and start talking about and try and fit it into like a little synopsis of what happened, what we went through. But this is just kind of an overview. Like we're going to dive deeper, and we might have an episode just devoted directly to DV or directly to trauma. But I do have CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Sorry. Nothing wrong with my personality. I'm great. But yeah, within that, it just basically means that I've had complex trauma. So traumas that have extended over a particular length of time, or traumas that have continued over years, or, more than one trauma across my life. So yeah, it is crazy.
It is crazy. And what comes with that, like I've been diagnosed with PTSD as well. It's like the slamming of doors and things like that. Like, oh my God, your sensory overload is crazy. And in saying that, since I've like really focused on my nervous system regulation, it's kind of subsided a lot, because when the kids used to slam doors and all that sort of stuff, the things that used to happen through like those chaotic events literally were like heightened in my body. So like my reaction to that, are you similar in that aspect? Like just, yeah, sensory stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And get overstimulated quite easily. However, it's just, I found a big thing for me was just reminding myself, you're safe. Like your body is safe. You're safe. You're in the present moment, and just taking a few deep breaths. But sometimes it's hard. It's really, really hard.
I lost my shit at my kids last night. I had to take myself for a run because like it gets to a point where you're not like even in relationships with your kids, like when you're not being seen and heard and you're doing the calm parenting and all that sort of stuff, like doing all the things where you see a family therapist. She's actually come back. She took a little break. And I've been learning some things through her about connection and all that sort of stuff, communication with the kids and stuff. And yeah, yesterday I just lost my shit because I'm like, no one's hearing what I'm saying. Like we're sitting at a dinner table, all the rest of it, things happened and all the rest of it. And like, yeah, you get to a point where you're so calm. And then you're like, whoa, like we're only human, like seriously. But yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Definitely. And I think the thing that we spoke about last night as you were navigating that was just giving yourself some grace as a mama
Mm,
because you're doing it all on your own. So there's no one for you to be like, hey, can you tap in so I can tap out? I'm feeling
yeah,
overwhelmed.
yeah,
So like I'm glad that we have that relationship where we can literally voice note one another and say, like this is happening for me in the moment, and that I can be a person there to support you through that. And we touched
amen.
on the fact, yeah, amen. We
Amen.
touched on the fact that you can have those moments. They're normal. We're human. You're going to yell. Like I practice gentle parenting as well with Hudson and responsive parenting and in the moment and, just acknowledging his feelings and all the rest of it. But sometimes like it just happens, we get to a point and we reach our limit and we might yell, and that's okay because the important thing is restoring that relationship after. So after I've lost my shit and yelled, then I will turn around and I will apologize. And I will say, look, mommy is sorry. These are not your feelings to hold. They are mommy's feelings, and mommy needs to do a better job at controlling her emotions. And mommy's sorry for yelling. So I'll tell him why I was yelling, that it wasn't his fault, that it was my fault, and what I was feeling, so that he knows that my yelling isn't a result of him. It's a result of me and my not being able to control my own emotions. So I always restore that relationship and apologize like profusely.
Yeah, because what we talked about last night was the parenting, how different parenting is from when we were younger to now. Like you were like isolated as a child and you were told to go to your room and there was no like conversation after you were, either physically abused or completely yelled at till the cows came home. There was no conversation after it. We were just isolated in our room and then we're walking around on eggshells all day or even for weeks. I remember like my dad hadn't made conversation with me since we had a fight, or my mum didn't, and you're just like walking around on eggshells, like just trying to gain like a little bit with them. Like I remember like being like, mom, like what do you want me to do? It's like where the people pleasing sort of starts. Like yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that conversation after and rebuilding the relationship is highly important in with your children and relationships as well. Like I feel like people just brush things under the rug, but that conversation is totally important.
And then touching on those feelings when you're a child and walking on eggshells, like because oh, if I misbehave or something happens, I'm going to be grounded because you were grounded left, right, and center. And then you turn around, and then when you're grounded, you're stuck in that toxic negativity longer. So it's just like a cycle. And it's like I would try and do anything to not be grounded, but I would literally do the smallest thing and would get the belt.
Yeah, literally. It was crazy. Hey, like, how did we survive? But this is probably why a lot of our generation are on these healing journeys and self development, and even like generations before that, like, they went through crazy shit as well. Like, I feel like
Mm.
we are totally healing like generational stuff because, like, it's actually like shit would not fly like that these days. Like, and
Mm.
yeah,
And it's not easy by any means. Like, it is not easy healing yourself while being a mom or a parent
yeah,
at the same time. Like, healing's
mm,
not easy in itself, but then having to wake up, put a smile on your face, be calm and gentle, and, all of these things. And how
mm.
we know we want to show up for our children, but yet, we're healing. So it's like, oh, it's a really crazy balance. But I'm just so proud of us both for being able to do that and navigate that. So yeah, I see you.
I see you too. And we see all the mamas out there that are trying their best. Like it is a hard gig. Yeah. And we've moved from our hometown, so we haven't really made it any easier on ourselves. But here we are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for tuning in today. And we hope you enjoy listening to us as much as we enjoyed talking about it. We hope you feel inspired to take back your power. Thank you for listening into the EWP Potty with Jules and Day. We want to challenge you to share this potty with someone you love. Let's get all women involved. Follow us on Insta at empoweringwomen_project. Facebook and TikTok at Empowering Women Project.
We invite you to interact with us on our socials, our threads, and in our DMs. We are open to collaborating and invite you to reach out if you feel inspired to be a guest on our EWP podcast. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. We encourage you to start believing in yourself and the magic of the universe.